We are going to cover some items that sold on Etsy and eBay during the first and second week of April 2022. Hopefully this will help you know what to look for and know what's selling. We'll start with these antique school books. I purchased an entire box full of vintage and antique children's books from an online estate sale. It was local in my area, but we purchased online and then picked up the items. These were a set that were in pretty rough condition. Binding is gone on one of them, corners are bent, pages are kind of loose, but I know that a lot of people like to use them for decorative purposes, so I grouped these three together and they sold for $25 in about a month. I maybe had about 50 cents into each book because there were so many in the box. Mirrored trays, they are something that I sell over and over and over again in my shop. This is just another example. This one had a little bit of a decoration in the center. The mirror did have a few problems with it, but I noted those in the description. I picked it up at an estate sale for, I believe, $5 and sold it for $25 in a couple of weeks. These two art pottery vases were another estate sale find. I got them for $2 each. They are by the same potter, same artist. They're Pal Wright. When I did a brief lookup at the estate sale, I saw other items by him, so I knew he was at least a notable artist. And they sold very quickly for $25 in about a week. They have a great mid-century kind of feel. Alright, hand-turned wood candlesticks that are kind of mid-century are another item I almost always pick up. People like to put them in groupings to put up during holidays or just as their everyday mantle decoration. As long as I can get them for a cheap enough price, I will always purchase them. I sold these. They sat a little bit longer. They are not your typical look, but they sold for $15. Alright, catch-alls or little trinket dishes are a great item to pick up. People are always looking for ones that fit in with their decor or their theme. Leaves and other organic trinket dishes are a consistent seller for me. I picked this one up for $1.99 at a local thrift store, sold it for $16 in about a month. Alright, index boxes, recipe card boxes are something that are consistent sellers as well. They're functional, but people love the way they look. They like finding just the right one or one that reminds them of their grandma. This one was just a little odd, had these little green elves or leprechauns or pixies on them, and it sold after about 2 months for $18. This one actually sold to the same person who bought the previous index box, recipe box. I got it for $2 at a garage sale, and it sold in a couple of weeks. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I've sold a lot of these. I always pick them up when I find them for a good price and can sell them for between $20 and $25 depending on if they have wear. This one had a little bit of scratching, so I lowered the price a little bit, but they sell consistently, they sell well, they bring a lot of eyes into my shop. This one sold in about 3 weeks for $22. Alright, this is some artwork. The frame is vintage, does have some scuffing, which was noted in the description. It is made with yarn, and really cool design with this windmill. I haven't seen this one before. There are some that you see over and over again. And it sold for $27 in a couple of weeks. Alright, this is a set of placemats, set of 6. With the original box, the box does have some damage. I picked them up at a local thrift store for $1. They were actually in a bundle with other placemats, which I have sold one set already before this one, so my $1 has made quite a bit of money. I sold this set for $20 in about a month. Alright, another cruel embroidery artwork. This one is a little more rustic looking with the more burlap looking muslin, and I picked it up at an estate sale for $6. It sold in about a month for $32. Alright, I have actually found this before. It had a different color, I think it was a yellow, but I always pick up odd vintage planters. They do well, especially if they are animals, dogs, cats. People just like decorating with them. I got this one for $1 at a thrift store, and it sold in a couple of weeks for $18. I almost always pick up brass animal figurines when I find them. This one, however, I don't know that I would pick up again. It sat for a very, very long time. I think 7 or 8 months or so, and that's a lot longer than most of my items sit. I got it at a thrift store for a couple of dollars, and it sold for $20. Alright, these are some alabaster stone eggs. They sold actually after Easter. I had them listed long before Easter and thought they would sell before, but they did not. They're from Italy and vintage. I got them in a baggie of lots of other items for $4. I have sold all the other items. This was the last thing from the bag. They sold for $15. Alright, this tin was purchased at an estate sale for, I believe, $3 to $4. I can't remember now, but it sold for $16 in a week. Alright, this item was part of an auction lot from the first ever live auction I've been to. I got basically a whole table filled with boxes, curios, jewelry boxes, and this was one of them. I had maybe $1.50 into this, and it sold for $45 in just a few days. Alright, this is a pair of Hobbyist Birds. It was a hobby painter who painted them. They sat a little bit longer than I expected, maybe because they are brown. I sell little bluebird figurines often and fairly quickly, but these sold for $15. And then finally this Mccoy Planter. I have sold a lot of Mccoy. This is kind of a more common find, and I got it in a grouping of items that I purchased from a collector. I don't know that I would pick it up again. I got it for a great price, so it made it worth it, but it sat for a good long while, and it's very heavy, which might have been why it sat for so long. Cost a lot to ship, but I sold it for $20. Okay, we will look at some eBay items that sold. This was a vintage casket trinket box or jewelry box. It had quite a bit of wear. It's supposed to be gold. The top is no longer gold, but it was part of that auction lot that I purchased, and I decided to just go ahead and list everything that I got. And so it sold in a couple of weeks for $11. Another item from the auction lot, I generally do not list items that I'm going to make less than $15 on, but as stated before, I figured I would just list everything and sell it all. This sold in like a week for $7. Same story as the previous item. This sold in just a few days for $6. Right, this is a grouping of Fisher Price Little People and farm animals. My son actually has his own Etsy shop where he puts together little Play-Doh kits that are themed, and he uses thrift store toys kind of as a way to recycle them. So I will occasionally pick up large bags of toys, but he focuses more on ones that look a little more realistic. These were in the bag and opted to list them as a lot and sell them. They sold in about a month for $14. Alright, these were a great estate sale find, one of those things that you find it and you just know that you're going to make a good profit on it. I got the whole set for $4 and it sold in 2 days for $45. This was a part of the auction lot. I got a couple of boxes of brass items and figurines. This was in there, and to be honest, I did not find a lot of information on it for a good long time. It took me a while to list it because I didn't know what I was looking at. It is a very old and rare lead toy soldier. They would have been all hand painted, and there's quite a group of people that collect them. I decided to put it on auction because there was so little information about them. I didn't have a good idea of what comps looked like, and it sold for $100. Another auction item, and it sold for $13 within a couple of days. Right, this was actually a antique mall find. There was a booth that I enjoy visiting this booth. They have a lot of items that I like to look at, but I usually cannot afford to purchase any of their items, especially for resale. They know what they have. They were doing a sale and had this item marked down to $25, and I knew I could make a profit on it. I knew it was Murano glass, and it has great gold detailing. It's pretty, and it sold within a week for $70. Alright, and this item was actually in a box full of items I purchased from an estate sale. It was their last day. They were just trying to get stuff out the door. I got the whole box for $4. Knew I would for sure make a profit. There were a lot of odd items in there. This sold in about a month for $25.